I know why all them other niggas hatin'. Guess it's cause the girlfriend steady participating. Look at what that make me the topic of conversation. Topic of conversation. And I am hella loud. Fuck it, I'm conceited, eat it. Needless to say, I'm a genius. Bringing hip-hop back with meaning since we been done R.I.P. I'm at the top, motherfuckers act like they don't know. Blind speaking that Chris Rock shit, saying that they never see before. Nigga, I do's this, I am a star amongst these squares. They are not on my level. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Gift of Gab. Shout out to all my Gaboos and Gabettes watching. I am your host, the Rhyme Austin Don Pritt, along with my beautiful co-host, the Empress Shari Dubois, and the infamous Queen Amber Dawn. And we have a guest tonight, Kimberly Ashby. Kim, tell us what you do.
I'm a doctoral candidate in counseling psychologist. I'm a psychologist, a therapist, and an artist.
Nice, nice. So, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. That happened, so rest in peace. But let's get into our first topic. You saw Kobe Bryant's memorial with him and Gigi, right?
Yes, this past Monday, 2/24/2020, which I need to point out is a very significant date. February 24th, the 2 represents Gianna's number. 24 nice. For Kobe. 20 represents the number of years that he played for the Lakers organization and 20 years that he's been married to his wife. So this past Monday, 2/24, they had a celebration of life for Kobe and Gianna, and they also celebrated the lives of the 7 other people who died in the helicopter crash. A lot of media outlets did coverage of the funeral, the memorial celebration of life, and they talked about Kobe and his legacy and the impact that he just left on the basketball league and Gianna's legacy as well.
Nice.
Did you see it?
I did, and I think one of the most important things that stood out to me is that she had the strength, Vanessa, having the strength to get up there and say, just like in closing, to almost like a personal letter to her husband and her daughter, and I think she delivered that great. It was really nice.
Yeah, there were a lot of speeches. I know Shaq had a speech there.
Yeah.
And
Michael Jordan had a speech. You might have even seen some crying memes. So during
Yeah, when I seen the picture of his speech, it reminded me of that crying meme that's out always with like Michael Jordan crying. But and his wife, I know that was a touching speech. And Beyonce sung at the funeral, right?
She actually opened it up. She performed EXO, which actually was one of Kobe's favorite songs, and Halo. And she did a beautiful rendition of both of his songs. It was very touching and heartfelt. And like Beyonce's just the epitome of grace and class. So,
oh, Lord, yes.
So to have a friend of his who, she is, to have a friend of, to have a friend like Beyonce perform at his celebration of life, it was just so touching. She did an incredible job. As well as Alicia Keys and Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, they all did a great job. They really did.
Okay, so on our next topic, did anybody get to catch that fight?
I did.
Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
I did not watch it. I'm not personally super into fights, but I'd love to hear what y'all's experience of it was.
I saw the highlights, and of course, social media gave me a play-by-play of everything that was going on. I didn't anticipate tuning in, but I was definitely rooting for Deontay Wilder. I'm always on his side.
Yeah, I'm with Kim as well. I typically don't watch, but my husband's super into boxing, so I did catch highlights and bits and pieces. I definitely think that Wilder came out with the the whole facade, the whole outfit, and it was just like he did all that, and then just the way that he lost was he just took a crazy L.
He got his ass whooped. That shit was crazy for real. I did not expect that to happen at all. The last fight was a draw, and everybody felt like Wilder should have won that fight.
Okay.
And then going into the fight, he was just real hyped for it. He was getting ready for the fight the whole time, just preparing in his locker room, doing push-ups, working out, hitting the bag, everything. And, Fury, he was just clowning around in the locker room. He was just in there dancing and looking like he was showing off. And he came out, he didn't even walk out. He got carried out and on a crown, with a crown on, and to the stage. People lifted him up. He didn't even walk out to the stage.
And the reason Wilder saying he's lost is because the outfit he was wearing.
He said it was 40 pounds.
It was 40 pounds, and
Well, that was
He
a
had
stupid
no
decision.
legs by the 7th round.
he had weak legs, so it was like an excuse and why he, said he lost. He lost the fight, and he lost really bad. I didn't expect it, but every great fighter, they say, takes that L.
Did you see Fury at the end sing that whole song? Did you see that? Yeah, he sang like a whole song at the end, and I was like,
I
"That's
did
you."
actually see that.
Yeah, he sang. I'm trying to think of what the song was, but it was
Their
really
national
uncalled for.
anthem or something like that.
No, it was like a what is that? Sweet Home Alabama, maybe something.
I didn't see the song or the performance or whatever that was, but I did see some clips of him like licking towards Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
I don't know. He said he wanted to taste his blood. Apparently, he said this weeks ago. So I
that's
saw
gross.
a video of him like licking his neck. I don't actually know if he tasted this man's blood, but I was disturbed by what I saw.
And he already looks almost like a giant. Like something's weird. I was noticing he was not really even in shape. He's just a big guy. You know what I mean? So
I was really sorry to see Deontay Wilder go out like that. Like, of course, I'm rooting for this guy. I want him to win, be victorious, bring home, the heavyweight title or whatever title it is, and like rock out and do your thing. And
right.
I hurt to see him get knocked out like 3 different times and not have his legs and have his hands down. And where was his corner? Like, who was around to stop that?
Yeah.
It was just a sore sight to see.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a good fight, though. It was unexpected. Like I said, I wanted Wilder to win, but I was surprised at the outcome, that he got his ass whooped badly. And that alone was pretty interesting because I didn't expect it to happen, so it kind of blew my mind. So that's, I guess, what made it good.
Yeah.
But, on to the next topic. D. Wade and his son are, being put on the media and blasted, and people are coming at them about their family situation that they're going through. Not going to call it anything, but Char, what do you feel about that?
I just think it's funny that we live in a world everybody has a social media platform and anybody can give their opinion on anything. And I'm realizing as the days go by that I'm not interested in everybody's opinion about everything all the time. It just makes me nuts. I'm not actually going to comment on Zaya per se, but personally, I commend D. Wade. I have a lot of respect for him, and whatever he and his family decide to do, whatever they decide to do, however they decide to raise their children, he and Gabrielle Union, like, that's their business. But personally, I commend D. Wade. I think he's a loving and doting father, and he's challenging the status quo. Like, he's not doing something that you see a lot of black men doing, and he's showing, like, hey, it's okay to be a supporter of the LGBTQ community. It's okay to, this might feel uncomfortable or be uncharted territory. Maybe people aren't accustomed to their parents just loving them unconditionally, but I'm going to love my daughter for who she is, and we're going to do some work, and we're going to get through it. I respect it. I commend it.
Absolutely. I just 100% agree with the fact that he's really being supportive, and it's so important with the platform that he has to really demonstrate that for other black people, to show that like there are black trans people in our community, and we need to be respecting them just as much as anyone else.
Right. Right. I agree. I think, with you too, I do think that it is commendable. The only thing I wish is that I think that people that are like that and, such as gay, lesbian, anything like that, I do honestly feel like you were born like that, and it's something that you cannot help. I do think that it's great that they are supporting their son, and everything that's going on. But the only thing I wish that they would do is kind of draw back on the not telling him, of course, not to be himself, but more so like the nails and the crop tops. And I think because even if you were a girl at that age, he's 12, is it? Okay, so even if you were a female at that age, even that would be inappropriate to me. Like, as a parent, I would have been like, no, whether he was a girl or a boy. So I just think maybe they should just draw back a little bit on that, like trying to kind of just, it seems like they're promoting just being like, looking like that. They
were saying it was like a study of like people that become trans at a young age, like 80% of them would have changed their minds. They said, like,
if they
more so
not
like they wouldn't have still had felt those ways. They just wouldn't have made that transition.
Right.
And that was like,
So it's almost like practice, almost, or like kind of just letting them experiment.
I guess the ratio of people that maybe wanted to change back, or I don't know
Right.
how they got that research, but
Yeah, I'm
I
wondering
saw
who did that research.
I saw
Yeah.
something like that on the news. It was like on one of like a morning show or something. It was actually like one morning show. I don't remember which one I was watching, but they were actually talking about it. So
And if I'm not mistaken, it's more about Zaya wanting to use certain pronouns. Like,
Right.
just
Right.
call me this name and call me she, her, and
Yeah.
that's how I identify, and that's a start. So that's what I understand.
And that's
of it.
good, and I agree with that completely. But I feel like maybe they can protect him a little more if they avoided exactly what I just said. The whole, like, of course, be yourself. We can call you whatever you want to be called. Like, support him totally in whatever he's going through, but not be like, okay, you can wear a full set of nails at 12 years old. Like,
And also think about how brave she is.
Yeah.
Like at 12 years old to in front of the world.
right?
Yeah.
Celebrity
That's gotta be a
parents,
lot of pressure
Yeah,
with the
right.
kids. Kids are cruel.
to stand in his truth or her truth, excuse me, and say, I know who I am and I'm comfortable, and
Right.
Yeah.
if you got a problem with it, like, that's on you.
Right.
yeah, you have to be like that, because to be honest, what I feel about it is like that's them and that's their family, and if that's the way that he wants to raise his family, like, let him raise his family. Like, it shouldn't be like a big thing. Things like that are happening every day to everybody in almost every family.
Right.
So for
So-
the people for the people who like get outraged, what do y'all think that's about? Because I have my own kind of theories, like the people who go out of their way to like bash and talk that D-Wade shouldn't do that. Like,
The internet and media, TV, all that is just in everyone's face, so it's easy to talk about, since they're just that on a platform of it, that they feel like they have to
speak
make
on it.
it's easy to talk about them instead of talking about themselves
Their own
or
problems.
their
Yeah.
Putting someone else down.
exactly. Yeah, so
Or another view of that could be maybe just old fashioned, old school. A lot of people really honestly don't believe in that, especially older people. They, like, people our age kind of already seen that and kind of are used to it. Like you said, everybody's like that nowadays, but people like that are kind of like, no, that's not normal, or no, so that causes them to have more of a view and more of an opinion on the topic.
it gets into a lot, but we have a guest tonight, Miss Kim Ashby,
Yes.
and you were saying what do you do? You're a mental health therapist, right?
Yes, I'm a mental health therapist. I'm getting my PhD in counseling psychology, and I'm also a visual artist who incorporates a lot of therapeutic arts techniques into my clinical practice with clients.
Nice.
So we have some questions for you tonight. Shar?
well, one of the first things I wanted to ask you about is, as a mental health professional, what is some things that you do to help care for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as someone who cares for others, it's really essential that I have a self-care routine set out and like seek community. So that's one thing I do, is I really stay connected to others. I really value my friendships, my relationships. I also do yoga, I meditate, and I make a lot of art. I'm a collage artist, so I really find that creating is something that can bring me into flow, bring me into the present moment, and I'm kind of leaving all the other stuff behind.
That's awesome. What are one of the more challenging things about being a mental health counselor?
Yeah, I think what's really challenging is sometimes just wanting to create change right away, when sometimes that's not the way it always happens. Sometimes it's a process and you're on a path and you kind of have to follow that path, and what your conception of what success is doesn't necessarily it's not as easy as just like getting there right away. You have to keep following the journey.
It's not linear.
It's not a linear journey. Exactly. So I think that can feel frustrating at times, but it's also really beautiful to witness people being brave enough to go on those journeys.
Right. And for people who are interested in like seeking therapy, where do you recommend that they start?
Yeah, so if people have insurance, you can definitely call your insurance agency. On the back of your insurance card, there should be a behavioral health number, and you can call them and they'll let you know all the therapists in your area that accept your insurance. If you don't have insurance, there's a bunch of people who have either sliding scales or can work with you in some kind of way with Medicare or Medicaid. I work for the Therapy Center in Philadelphia right now. We have a sliding scale, so we don't accept insurance, but we adjust our scale based on your income, so we can be affordable for some people who might need that.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
And I know you work with like marginalized people in the LGBTQ community.
I do.
What's the best part about working with that population?
I mean, I think that it really feels like I'm contributing to social justice. Like, I want to be a social justice agent as a therapist in the therapy room, but also outside of that room. And it's really lovely when those two identities kind of connect. And I feel like in my work with people of color, with LGBTQ folks, with undocumented folks, with low-income folks, all of them are like really trying to help understand the systems of oppression that are responsible for some of the challenges in their lives. And that can feel really empowering to just kind of know what's going on,
Right.
and then like actually know what to do about it and like take agency.
Right.
Feel seen.
Feel seen. That's so important, actually. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. So I want to ask you, why do you think it's probably less common that a lot of people of color, why is it so challenging for them to come out and seek counseling when and where it may be needed?
Yeah, well, I think that if we look back to a lot of folks' history, specifically African Americans, we have had a really rocky history with the medical profession, right? When you think back to the Tuskegee experiment, to Henrietta Lacks, to all types of things in which our bodies have not been respected, we have not been respected. So there's a lot of distrust there.
Okay.
And some of that is rightly so, you know? However, that prevents people from getting connected with clinicians who actually are either of color or who are very affirming and who are willing to recognize their identities and the trauma that kind of comes with being a person of color.
Nice. Okay. Interesting. And then also, I wanted to know what inspired you to pursue becoming a mental counselor.
Yeah, in high school, I thought that I wanted to be the next female Martin Luther King. I just wanted to do something great and really contribute and like fight oppression. And I just found that my path towards that was in psychology.
Nice.
You know, I saw that there was so many mental health problems going on in the Black community specifically, but that there were just so few mental health clinicians who were equipped to actually address that need, right? So as someone who really is fascinated by psychology, by the mind, by the way identity works and the ways in which we take care of ourselves and protect ourselves mentally, I think that it just made sense for me to go in that direction, and I'm really glad that I did. It feels like a great fit.
Good. Thank you.
Nice. So, you do art to help ease your mind for doing work, because work is hard sometimes, right?
Definitely.
How long have you been doing art for, and what inspired you to do that type of art?
Yeah, I've been making art since the day I was born. I'm pretty sure my mom's an artist, so she raised me in an environment where making art was just very normal and just kind of what we did. And she was like professionally trained, so I really got to learn some like great skills early on. So I've been doing it forever, but I specifically got into collage because I recognized that collage is this art form that is so connected to like Black people and like just our lineage of like taking all the worst things in life and making them into something really beautiful. You know, like taking the discarded scraps and then like, oh, look what I can really make out of this. Like that's our culture, right?
Yeah.
So I think I really love that about it, and it's fun, it's inspiring, it's a good time. It connects me to other people.
Nice. And what are some of your goals like in the future as far as your work field right now?
Yeah, well, I want to finish my PhD, so I want to be Dr. Ashby, and hopefully that will happen within the next year. I also want to get licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. I have an art show coming up in May that I'm really excited for, so I hope that goes well. And really, I just want to continue making art, making connections with people. Eventually, I'd like to open a group practice that's social justice oriented, that's really focusing people of color. That's down the road a little bit, so
Okay.
yeah. For now, those are the things I'm thinking about.
Nice.
Okay.
And right now, fruit flies. We got a lot of wine that we're drinking over here.
Yeah.
But
Sweet.
yeah. So what type of people would you say that you work with right now, and how can they get in contact with you and get in touch with you, whether it's like online or social media? How can they do that?
Yeah, so who do I work with right now, and how can other folks get in touch with me?
Yes.
Okay, so right now I'm at the Therapy Center of Philadelphia, and I work with women, trans folks, and gender nonconforming folks only. Those are the communities that we serve. And I see people with a variety of issues that they're facing. So relationship issues, depression, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, really the whole gamut with like various social identities. And if you're interested in therapy at the Therapy Center, then you can just look at our website, therapycenterphiladelphia.org, and take a look at some of our options. We have individual therapy as well as couples therapy. We also offer a few groups. So, yeah.
Okay. And do you ever feel like you have a, connection with someone that you're like talking to, as far as like you go home and maybe you like cry from a story or anything like that, like you become like in a way like moved by the person that you're talking to in any type of way, or get close with them?
I'm moved by my clients all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really a privilege to be able to be in the room with them and get to like be part of their healing experience. There are times where I think of clients sometimes, but I think that a lot of people get the impression that therapists must always be weighed down by the things that we're told, and I think that it's not really like that for a lot of us who really feel like this profession fits us. I think it's more that witnessing those experiences of trauma and being there makes us feel really good that we could walk that way with them. So it's more about the care we can provide than like the really horrible things that we're told.
Right.
Nice. Any last questions, Shar?
I feel like I want to. You say you work with undocumented workers as well?
Under some circumstances I have, particularly college students.
Oh, okay. Okay, and I'm just interested to see like how the climate and how everything is in this country like is affecting them.
Yeah.
We're worried about somebody from ICE banging on your door. Or when
Absolutely.
you turn on the news and we see kids in cages and like deplorable conditions. So.
No, yeah, that is something that some of my clients have faced. I have quite a few clients who have spouses or partners who are worried about being deported right now, and I have a lot of students who are just afraid, who are straight up just afraid, and it's terrible that we're in this state where that has to be their reality.
Any last questions, Amber?
No, you answered all my questions.
All right, so what's your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part about my job is just feeling connected to other people. So just feeling like I can genuinely be myself and authentic, and that by being myself I can be helpful to someone else, and I feel like really empathetic of their story. That just feels like that's part of what it is to be alive, is to feel connected to other human beings.
Yeah. And you said doing your art is your therapy, like, for like your job, but who does like, a therapist have to go to talk to at the end of the day? Like, who would you say is that one person that that's the person that you could talk to, and that be your therapy?
I will say that therapists often have therapists. So I have a therapist.
Okay.
And I have a therapist appointment tomorrow, actually, and I will tell her about this experience. It'll be great. But I also have a lot of important relationships in my life. So I have a best friend. Her name is Twinkle, and she's also getting a PhD in counseling psychology. She's defending her dissertation this month, and
nice.
I talked to her, and she gets it. So. Yeah.
All right, so we got this segment on the show. It's called Random Questions.
Well, so this is not based on psychology. Let me do that as a preface. This is just a game that I learned actually when I was in Brazil, and I find it really fun and fascinating. And often it's scarily accurate.
Really?
So,
Nice.
Yeah.
In Brazil?
In Brazil.
Okay.
I used to live there in 2010.
How long did you live there for?
7 months.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah, studied abroad there. I'm hoping to go back this year actually for Afropunk Bahia. There's going to be a music festival there. So, yeah.
What? So, you're going to tell us what the
question?
Yeah, the question, and then you got to tell us what it means.
What it means, exactly. Okay. So the question that I have for each of you is, what are your 3 favorite animals in rank order, and briefly why? Just like a brief reason why. It's like if you have a dog, like I like dogs because they're friendly, or like I like this because they're whatever, that kind of thing. And then I will tell you once everyone has said what their animals are, then I'll tell you.
So
what it means.
3 in the okay.
And it has to be in order?
From
You
favorite
can go
to
3,
least.
2, 1, or 1, 2, 3, but they have to be ranked.
Okay. You have yours?
I'm missing one. I need another animal. Am I thinking too hard? I'll start. My favorite animal is a lion, just because lions represent strength, and lion is the leader of his pack and the head of his pride, and I don't know. I feel like lions are dignified and sexy animals and creatures. I just love cats in general. I love print.
Me too.
Cheetah print and all that. So lions. Second, maybe I'll say a shark. They move. They maneuver through the water. I love the water. I love the beach. Sharks are also very strong. I like Shark Tank. I don't know. My third favorite animal, maybe maybe something in like the chimpanzee type of family. I would say.
Okay.
So if I could maybe have a chimp, I would.
Cool.
So you're gonna tell us what they are at the end?
No, at the end, once everyone's
All right. So
You
I
go
got,
next. 'Cause I don't know.
I got mine. All right. So first one I'm gonna say, and it's hard to pick an order, but I guess I would say an eagle, because eagles remind me about us niggas. I'm just kidding. Nah, it's like how you gotta be or whatever. Like they're about to be like, extinct or just like and everything. Like, but they fly alone and they never like fly in a pack. Like, and they're strong. And I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, of course too. But my second favorite animal is a cheetah, because I love cats. And those are the fastest cats. I like cats over dog nowadays. It's crazy, but like as far as a pet wise, I would pick a cat. But these are my favorite animals. Period. Right. All right. So it would be a cheetah, and my third one would be an elephant. Very big. I know they move slow, or whatever, but they're very strong. But the reason is the elephant was because that was my guardian who raised me till I was 7 years old. It was her favorite animal, and I learned a lot about elephants and how they have like thick skin and things like that when I grew up. But since it was her favorite animal, I adopted it.
Nice. All right, so this is a little tricky for me, and that's because I actually do not like animals at all.
Oh, okay.
I have no reason that I don't like animals. I would say more like pets. I don't care for them. If I go to your house or your house and you guys have pets, I'm not bothered by them. But I don't have that factor where if someone has a cute little puppy, I'm like, oh my God, please. I don't know what my problem is. And you would think I would, because I like, you would think that my personality, I would like stuff like that. I really don't. It's
What
so weird
animal
to
you
say.
got on right now?
So that's what I'm about to tell you. So totally, like, I'm not for PETA or anything like that. I don't really get into all that. But I would say that if I had to choose any animals, I would choose probably a Black Panther, because of probably their look. They're sleek. They're not, you can't get over on them. You know what I mean? They're probably going to attack you.
Yeah.
I just like the same as she said as the lion. You guys said the lion, the pride thing, the strong aspect of that. I would say a leopard or cheetah, only because they kind of have similar prints. Again, goes back to something aesthetic, just looks good. Same type of thing for the panther. And then if I had to choose a third one, I don't know if this would count, but anything in the ocean. I wish I could actually pick like a myth or mystical creature, like maybe like a mermaid or something.
Yeah,
I'm totally into that.
I would pick the dragon.
Totally.
If I could've.
But since we're talking about real creatures, I would say any kind of fish. Koi fish, I'm extremely intrigued by koi fish. I think they're beautiful. So I would say that would be my top three.
Okay, that was fascinating.
Really?
Okay, so apparently the first one you chose is supposed to be the way you see yourself. So your view of yourself.
Okay.
The second one is supposed to be who you truly are.
Okay.
And the third one is who you're attracted to. So think of the qualities that you pointed out.
What? I'm attracted to an elephant.
I said my type is a chip.
Yeah.
You try
They're
to do
smart.
chips?
They're companions.
Yeah. They're loyal.
They're loyal.
Okay, so can you answer that question yourself?
Yeah.
Or does it mess it up for you because you already know what
I
it
can
is?
tell you the way I first answered it before I knew, because I feel like it kind of messes it up once you know. So I picked dolphin for the first one because they're really smart. They love to have sex. They're really playful, and they just like, they be just jumping in the ocean and shit. It's awesome. Second is a giraffe because they're really weird, but they're kind of beautiful and like really tall and a little awkward. And then my third is a panther, I suppose, or a tiger maybe. I think it was tiger because all the reasons you said, they're just beautiful and powerful, you know. So I think for me it fits really well because I'm so like a giraffe. I think, you know, in terms of just being like kind of quirky and weird, but still being kind of statuesque. And I think I'm attracted to tigers.
Okay, that makes sense.
What does it mean that I'm attracted to elephants? I need to know
I
this.
think that you look for your grandmother's spirit in other people, probably.
That's a good way to look at it.
That's how I would interpret that.
That would be a good way to look at it.
Oh, wow.
But elephants also represent strength as well.
Yeah, strength.
Like, so they're so not...
And wisdom.
Yeah.
They remember things for a really long time.
That's true.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. That's so neat, though.
What did the cheetah part mean? I want to
I'm
know
not
things
a
about
cheetah.
mine.
Well, like the things like about the cheetah, right? So being kind of sleek and sexy and like maybe like charismatic or like gregarious or social, you know, those kind of things. Like,
that's kind of cool. So the second one is what you are, kind of. I could see that. All right, that was neat.
And do y'all want to ask about any of y'all animals? All right. So what did the eagle part mean?
That's how you see yourself as a Philadelphian, as a loner who's out here just soaring the skies, trying to just make it work.
Lit. Okay. So, y'all don't want to ask questions about your animals.
The mystical creature was kind of interesting.
I thought about that
Didn't
too.
you think
that
that?
You're looking for someone who's like
But you
magical.
know what's funny? Like, not only that, they're like kind of, I've always kind of been attracted to someone who's like kind of mysterious, kind of quiet, because that's the opposite of myself. So that makes a lot of sense.
All right. So it's Black History Month. It's our last week of Black History Month.
It is, unfortunately.
All right, I'm going to talk about Harriet Tubman. And the reason I'm going to talk about Harriet Tubman is because she was an American abolitionist and political activist. She was born into slavery. She escaped and subsequently made over 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people, including family and friends, by using a network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses known as the Underground Railroad, which we're all familiar with. But what really stood out to me about Harriet, two things. She was, when she was like about 12 or 13, she got in the middle of a fight between a slave owner and her brother or someone. And she kind of went into the path and accidentally got hit in her head with a like an iron, some kind of something heavy. She was in a coma for over 2 months because of this, and when she awoke from that, luckily she survived, but when she awoke from that, she started having the visions, things like that. She would pass out frequently, but later on she explained that these visions were actually God talking to her by guiding her way and telling her, maybe guiding her path through, going back and forth from slavery. She would get this, if she's unsure of where she is, that would happen, and she may say, okay, I was going to go left and now I'm going to go right, for instance. And then another thing that stood out to me about her is definitely, to me, that resonated with me because I have like psychic dreams and I have certain abilities that tied me with her, and I just thought that was really neat, and that she's like so tiny and only 5'1", and everyone thought that a woman, there's no way this could be a woman. They were calling her the Black Moses and thought it was this strong black man going back and forth, or even a white man, and here, it was this little 5'1" lady who passes out. So should have had plenty of chances to catch her, but still never did. So I just thought that she was really brave and strong for that.
You actually have a tattoo of Harriet Tubman, right?
I did. I just got one on my shoulder. I don't know if it's going to be super visible. But I did just get a tattoo of Harriet Tubman because I'm really inspired by her for so many of the reasons that you mentioned. And I have ancestry who were integral to the Underground Railroad, so that feels like it's a really important part of my family's story and legacy as well.
Nice.
Wow.
I did forget to add as well that where I live in Elkins Park, they call it Lamont as well, and it's actually a part of the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
And also, like, myself and my husband have to get several permits if you want to build or get something as simple as a fence, anything like that, because that it is, part of it's what do they call it? Trying to think of the word they use, but historical land,
yeah.
right? So, it's really, really weird that
And
happened.
did you see the movie that came out with her?
I did. It was great. It was really good. I honestly didn't even think it was going to be that good, and it was really good.
It was amazing.
Yeah. A movie that was really bad of somebody that I didn't even watch the movie because I just didn't want to see it in this type of light was they did a remake of the Aaliyah movie. I heard
that's
that.
terrible.
And Aaliyah is who I had for Black History Month because I think she's one of the baddest artists that walked this planet. And she was a black woman. She was young and she was a great entertainer. She died definitely too early. She was born on January 16th, 1979, died August 25th of 2001, and she was a great artist. She had movies that were coming out. She was going to be in a Matrix movie. I was obsessed with this woman growing up. Like, there wouldn't be like Beyonce's right now if we didn't have Aaliyah's back then.
Paved the way.
So that's what I had. I actually named my daughter Aaliyah. Spell it the same way and everything. Like, I always said since I was young, like if I ever had a daughter, I was gonna name my daughter Aaliyah.
I didn't make the connection. I never made the connection.
You never
peeped
that?
Yeah, I didn't know she was named after Aaliyah.
Yeah. Well, if you put together like parts of my name and her mom's name, like if you take letters from her mom's name, my name, you can spell Aaliyah.
Okay.
So that's why her mom agreed to it.
That's how you finesse that.
Yeah, well, no, it was other reasons. I had other names or whatever, so it was a name I had to go back. It's a longer story to that with the name situation, but yeah.
Don't you think that's very odd that everyone probably in this room can name exactly where they were and remember where they were when they received that news? I think that shows how significant she actually was. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember I was actually, when I found out the news, I was coming off of an airplane. And my uncle picked me up from the airport. I was flying back from California, picked me up in Maryland, and I heard it on the radio, and I wanted to cry, and I didn't cry. Because I told you earlier, I only cry when people die. When people die, I cry. That's when I let it all out. But yeah, I wanted to cry, and I thought my uncle was gonna think I was a bitch if I cried, so I didn't cry, and it was crazy. I just noticed last week when I was like, okay, I'm going to do Aaliyah for Black History Month, that I just got off an airplane when I found out the news. Who do you have, Shar?
It's okay to cry about it too. You don't have to feel like you gotta leave it bottled up.
Yeah, I know. I was just 12, and my uncle was like, it's tough for
Trying to be hard at the time.
I wasn't 12. I was probably like 15. Yeah.
I think at that time that was probably maybe one of our first celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
So
It was.
we're kind of taken aback. How am I so moved and emotional over somebody that I never met? Even though I watched the videos and I listened to the music, you remember where you were.
And someone who was such a good, I think maybe someone of her caliber, someone who was so innocent and like classy, someone who totally didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? You would just not expect that to happen to her. And I mean, I can tell you, I definitely thought she was cool. Definitely wanted to be her for sure. I think all of us probably looked up to her.
Yeah. Her last album was lit. That was a self-made album.
All the albums.
Self-titled album.
I just love that she was a dark emo black girl. She was, she did that.
With the glasses.
Yeah.
The side.
Yeah.
Right, but still innocent though. Even
Yeah.
as she had that persona,
Totally.
was still something innocent about her.
She was a tomboy but still sexy.
Right.
And she danced and was relatable.
She was
Had a
it.
Great smile.
She was it.
Yeah.
She was it. And you had Damon. You have Damon John, right?
Yes, Damon John is a fashion mogul, a CEO. Right now, he's a cast member on Shark Tank and just a fashion icon and entrepreneur. A lot of us know him because he is the CEO and president of FUBU, which was a very popular brand in the 90s. And he actually came up with FUBU because he wanted to encourage other black people to support black designers. So FUBU actually stands for Us By Us. And I wanted to talk about Damon John just because we're celebrating nowadays so many rising stars and people dabbling into fashion. I see Rihanna doing some great things with Fenty Beauty, and I'm thinking back to Damon John and how he paved the way and some of the things that he had to go through in the 90s.
Right.
And the 90s was a great time for me. I fell in love with hip hop between like 96 and 99, and that's when FUBU was just like it. So every video that I turned on, I seen LL Cool J and some of the hip hop artists that I looked up to. He had a whole different marketing plan and strategy, and he wanted to use celebrities to make his brand cool and to bring awareness, and he worked with LL Cool J, and I'm just so inspired by him. He's also a motivational speaker, and Shark Tank is one of the few shows that I do watch, and I love seeing him just hold his seat in his position and be a cast member and offer his expertise and get deals. I feel bad for him sometimes because I feel like he's the only black cast member there, so when other black people come on, I feel like sometimes he may feel a little obligation to listen to them or to try to throw them a deal just because you want to help somebody.
Right.
So I would love to see FUBU have a comeback in 2020. Like why not?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Why not? You know, Drake throwing a FUBU jersey and some jean shorts and some
Definitely
Timbs
had a
and
FUBU jersey. I'm not even gonna lie, and I'm not even a tomboy.
I got some.
I
got
definitely
You said you had one?
I definitely had one.
FUBU galore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's, I don't know, it's just.
When you said you were doing him this week, I just knew him from Shark Tank,
Okay.
and I was just like, watch. I was like, she's doing the black dude from Shark Tank, and he's one of my favorite characters on Shark. I say characters, they're not even characters.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs. He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
entrepreneurs on Shark Tank, because he's black. But no, at the same time, I did not know he was the creator of FUBU.
I didn't know that either.
And I was always like, what did he do? Like, you know, to
He
become.
started making hats by hand and then selling them on the streets of New York, and that's how he ate for the day.
And then you
Nice.
invest, but like, you know, that's what they do on Shark Tank.
Just,
But
that's how he. Like,
But
really from the
FUBU
hustle.
was his thing.
And he's the bald
It's lit.
guy, right? Well, obviously
Yeah,
he's the only black
he
guy.
is.
Because
Yeah.
I just saw something before I left the house on it. Some girls lost their parents and they were like trying to sell something, and I did see that. That's why I knew that.
You are the only one that's doing somebody from Black History Month that's still alive. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
guess so.
I celebrate that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, you know, we have the next topic where this incident happened. You could call it crazy. I want to know what y'all think about this because I thought it was stupid. But rental property or Rolex situation where what happened? Tell me the story about this, Shar.
So there's a short clip, maybe 30 second to a minute long video floating around social media right now. A woman gives what appears to be her boyfriend a birthday gift. So there's a video, there's people standing around, and she starts to unwrap the gift for him. So she offers him cologne, and she also gives him a rental property. So she hands him this folder, and he's not really interested. And he ends up saying, this isn't what I wanted a Rolex.
Yeah, Rolex. Right.
So then there's kind of like this question, like, is this guy ungrateful? Is he crazy for wanting a Rolex instead of an actual rental property?
I don't know if I would say he's crazy, because, you know, to each his own. Who knows? I don't know why he wanted the Rolex. Who knows? But I do feel that it is a little ungrateful, and he was very unappreciative of the gift. And definitely, if he felt a certain way, he definitely could have waited until like he got alone with his girlfriend. Like that was kind of rude in front of everybody. Like, I didn't want this. Like, so I think definitely it was a little on the ungrateful.
So this thing
side.
happened in public?
That was
Yeah,
classy.
it was in
It
public.
looks like they were
Like in front of his
maybe by
friends?
a pool or something,
Yeah.
like maybe at a resort or someplace really nice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's sitting, she's standing, they got people around, and they're
Maybe some of
recording
his
that
friends.
she's about to reveal whatever this
Propose?
birthday gift
Sound
is.
Yeah,
like,
but it was a
what the
whole
hell?
rental
Birthday?
property, and he was like, I don't want that. I was like,
I
Well,
want
he
a
doesn't.
Rolex.
I mean, I think that's just representative of some people not necessarily knowing what things are valued at and
Right.
knowing the way to like really invest money in such a way that it grows rather than
Right.
just like spending it quickly to look like you're flashy.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
like a problem in the black community, obviously.
Yep. I was gonna say that.
Here's something that I'll add. So, like, it's a short clip, right? We don't know what else the background is and what his investments or what his financial and business acumen is. Like, we don't know. I can't blame him. If I tell you that for my birthday I want to receive a Rolex, get me what I want. Don't give me the gift that you want to give
Yeah.
me. You know, if we already had a conversation and we're in a relationship and I tell you I want a Rolex, get me a Rollie. I ain't
Right.
mad at him. If I want a Rollie,
Yeah.
I want a Rollie and a pinky ring myself. I want the rental property first, personally.
Right.
But if he told her, if he said, "This is the gift that I want you to give me what I want." I don't think that what do they say? It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
That's BS to me.
Yeah.
That's BS to me. Give me a good gift. Give me what I asked for. Don't give me
Right.
what you want to give me. I didn't ask for a rental property. And for him, we don't know what that represents because it is a responsibility. You got to flip it. It's upkeep.
Right.
That could be a headache to him.
And I saw someone comment saying something like, also everybody can't be a boss either. Everybody don't even want to be a boss.
Everybody
So
doesn't have that
he just
mentality.
probably exactly what you said, wanted to just get the rollie and go to the club and say it's my birthday. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like as a gift, you can't be mad at what someone
It's a little
got you
ungrateful.
because it's
get mad.
ungrateful as fuck. Like,
mad.
you are getting something from them, they didn't have to do shit.
Right.
And,
Right. Especially not a rental property.
you know, I know y'all in a relationship and everything, but nobody don't have to do shit.
Right.
And you should be appreciative if somebody is giving you something that is valuable. It may have not been what you wanted, and that's what his problem was. He's thinking in his head. He's thinking in his head. Look, what makes her think that I want to do this upkeep and keep up with this, like, you know, house, and there's different things I'm gonna have to do with it. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna have to be responsible for this shit now.
If your
Right.
significant
So-
other doesn't give you the gift that you want, who else is expect? I guess I gotta get my own rollie then. Like, if we had
Yeah.
a discussion about what I want for my birthday, and I tell you I want a presidential Rolex, it's pull up
But like,
my presidential.
but like you said, if they
I
even
want-
had that conversation, like you said,
and based on the video, it sounded like she wasn't surprised at the response.
That he
she
said
was
that,
basically
right.
kind of like, I told you, so why don't play with me?
yeah,
Don't play with
and
me.
probably in the back of her mind, if that was the case, she probably knew he wasn't about that anyway. She probably knew he wasn't shit.
And she might have been doing that, you know,
To
for
maybe give him a
herself.
little
Yeah, she probably knew he
responsibility.
wasn't shit.
For me, I take my gift giving very seriously. I put a lot of thought into it. It's not just what I want someone to have. It's something
what
that
they-
I want
what
the
you know they want.
recipient to really to really enjoy it. And I've received gifts. I received a bad gift when I was 10. I never got over it. I talked about it like every Christmas to my mom. Oh, this person gave me this gift. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It should come from the heart.
It should.
Definitely. But
Right.
you should have the recipient in mind.
Right. Or maybe she did that because she knew he was going to do that, and that's really what she wanted. So she's like, well, now I have this house that maybe he told her not to spend the money on in the first place.
And if you're intimate with somebody on that type of level,
You should know. You know what they want.
Right.
You know what's them and what's not, truthfully.
He not on that type of time.
He wanted to stunt. That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really, like, who are these people anyway? I really don't give a fuck about it. Like I said, when I first said it, I was like, all right, this is stupid. But people are talking about it. So if they're talking about it, we're going to talk about it because, like, you know, you just come on here to see that. Or talk about what people talking about.
And for the record, I was telling my homegirl like a couple of years ago that that's something I would like for my husband and I to do in the future, whoever my husband is, wherever you are. When anniversary and gift giving time comes, I would love it if we could gift each other. Babe,
Yeah.
hey, you got me, you
Gift
got
each other
me a
rental
ring.
properties.
Right.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
it's a great gift. That is a great gift.
That
I would be
if
so.
we meet, I'm trying to
but
have that conversation now.
I'm
Like,
just
what-
saying, like, a lot of
what's your
niggas not
mindset?
trying to
What are
work
your
like
goals?
that.
Where do you see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself getting involved in real estate? Because real estate makes the most millionaires. Can we tap
They
into
do.
it? Can we sit down? Can we figure out a schedule and really get to this bag? That's what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, hopefully, you know, on 5 and 10-year anniversaries, we're doing all of the other glitzy stuff. But
Right.
rental property.
Right.
Let's
I think
pull
that's
up,
a
let me see it.
great
Yeah.
thing. I don't feel like anybody should have been ungrateful for that, though. Even if it wasn't what you wanted, you could have just sold it to somebody else and then get your rollie.
I liked how you said
He
you
didn't
could
think
have
of that.
talked about it in private.
Yeah, he didn't even
had
put her
the
on blast in
plan.
front of his
Yeah,
friends. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of rude.
Yeah.
He told me in the car.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got him a candy bar next year.
So, next topic, Neo's and his wife, they're getting a divorce.
Leo and his current wife have been together for 4 years. I believe they have a son and a daughter. And after 4 years, he's saying she has her demons that she has to work through. I have mine, and right now our demons won't work together.
right.
So they're gonna split.
Yeah.
Was he married before that?
He was.
Yes.
So actually, he has a previous wife, and with her, he also has 2 children. He has a son and a daughter. And from this first marriage, I believe that the 2 of them had an agreement that she would get her tubes tied and he would get a vasectomy. So after they had the kids, she went on with the agreement and got her tubes tied, and he didn't get the vasectomy. He
Right.
divorced her and married the woman that he's currently married to now
Right.
for 4 years, and he's also about to divorce her.
Which
So
that was shady.
Do you think he's going to get married again and have more kids?
probably.
Maybe.
Why not? What's stopping him? He's got
Right.
money. He's got power. He
Yeah.
can afford it. Why not?
So, did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. I definitely heard what Shar heard as far as him saying she's got demons, I got demons, our demons ain't working together. But they were on that one show. What was the show they were on? Did anybody see that? It was like Wives of I want to say it's like Hip Hop Wives or something like that.
One of those reality shows.
Yeah, it was a reality show for
yeah.
a while, and their relationship been seemed strange to me. Anyway, it just I don't know, it just seemed really weird. But I mean, I can only imagine they're probably under a lot of pressure, just by him being a celebrity anyway, and she's not really that a celebrity at all besides the show, so that can get in the way.
Yeah, people get divorced
well.
all the time.
That could be in the way.
People get divorced all the time. Yeah. So it's just a big thing because they're like
they're in the spotlight.
Spotlight and all that. And I just didn't know he had that many kids.
Yeah, he wasn't
How many
having like
kids
no
he got
kids
altogether?
I think 4.
to all those kids. Yeah,
He has 4 kids.
So 2 with each wife.
Because remember before it was like he didn't have any kids, and then it was just like boom, he has kids. It was weird.
Oh shit. Well, it happens. That's how I feel about it. It's sad that it happened. Like, nobody wants to get married and then get a divorce. Like, I guess that's why people are so scared to get married these days now. Or what do you guys think it is? Well, Amber, you're married. You're the only married one here, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone should ever go into getting married and then hoping for a divorce. I mean, it's something that definitely takes a lot of work at all times, and communication, as I said before, and then definitely like maturity levels and communication and honesty. That's like the top things right there.
do you guys ever think about that? Like when you when you're thinking marriage, hopefully one day that happens, right?
Yes, I would love to be married. I can't wait to be married. I'm hoping it's my one and only marriage. I'm like, this is a forever thing till death. We rocking out.
Right.
So I don't want to go into it thinking about divorce. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be prepared.
Right.
For anything to happen, but I would really love. They say that the same person you marry isn't the same person you divorce, right?
That's
so,
true. That is kind of true.
I'm all in. Like if I'm about you, I'm for you, I'm forever. But I'm not dumb, and I'm not gonna stick around in a relationship like longer than necessary.
Yeah.
So hopefully, whoever he is, we can get on the same page. Like, hey, we have a rocky part of our relationship. Like, are you willing to seek therapy? Like, can we get some counseling? Like, what can we do to work on it and to fix it? If you're just gonna walk away and I'm gonna just walk away, then
that's not right.
It's not gonna work.
But what's really weird and kind of tying into that though, like also like a big thing is that of course no one's perfect. So like if I have an issue or my husband has an issue or whatever, the other person has an issue, then like honestly if you tell them the issue and you see them working, you see them trying their best, like as long as you're trying, I really cannot fault you. You know what I mean? Like if you just like exactly what you said, if you're just like, F it, I don't care, I'm not gonna try, then yeah, I'm not gonna be around. But if you're constantly trying to work things out, make them better, then I cannot fault you for anything that I may have an issue with.
What do you think about marriage these days?
Yeah, well, I think that marriage means a lot of different things to different people. I'm mostly interested in partnership, and that may or may not be with marriage, and we'll see.
Okay, so like it's not a big deal for you.
I think it's more that like I'm interested in a commitment that doesn't necessarily involve marriage.
I completely understand what you're saying, because there's times I say, well, I don't believe in marriage, and especially like and that can sound crazy, but I think it was like man-made, and like it's like a lot of reasons I just
Patriarchal.
don't. Yeah,
It can be.
A lot of things I just don't really believe in it, but it's just like something I've always wanted to do as well too. But then when it comes to getting married, maybe it'd be the wrong person. Now you got to go through this whole thing like a divorce, and then there's paperwork, and it's all that, and he has money and things like this, so it has to be a headache for him to have to go through.
It's like what you said the one time though too. Like it's some security in that too, even though it may be man-made or whatever you want to call it. It's definitely, if I'm going to do this, then I'm not going to do this and then for no reason.
100%. We place a lot of value on money, and that's man-made as well. I like the security that comes with it. Me and you were building a life. 30 years from now, something happens legally, I'm protected. And
Legally you can go.
I can make decisions.
Right.
Well, now that we're talking about marriage, they got a whole show on Netflix right now, a reality TV show, Love
is Blind.
Love is Blind.
Like show, I call it a horror series.
Yo,
because
it's the best show
no,
right
that show is scary.
I haven't seen it yet.
What?
It's just people throwing out "I love yous," talking through a wall
in like 2 weeks.
They got to get married in 4 weeks with each other.
They're
like
crying.
You propose to somebody within just meeting them in a week. Like,
so I guess the people who are doing the experiment believe that marriages last based on an emotional connection and not a physical one. So they want to remove the physical aspect to see if these people can connect. And if you find somebody that you fall in love with and want to spend the rest of your life with, you can propose. And then from there, that couple spends some time in Mexico, like actually meeting and getting to know one another. Then they move in, then the parents and the families meet, and then after 4 weeks, you show up on your wedding day and decide, do I want to spend the rest of my life with someone who is a total stranger who I fell in love with in a pod?
Right.
So
it's really interesting.
It is. It's a number of couples. There's a couple, Lauren and Cameron, that I'm so rooting for. Lauren is a black woman. I believe she's from Detroit. Young woman, content creator, and she fell in love with this guy, sight unseen, named Cameron, who's 28. He's a scientist, and he's white. And, it didn't matter that, they were different races. When they fell in love, they connected. Cameron proposed. She accepted. They finally met. And it was like one of the most beautiful things I've seen like recently, just like seeing glimpses of that process and them kind of feeling their way through, because we can see what they look like, but you don't know what the other person looks
right.
like.
What do you feel about like interracial relationships and things like that?
Love who you love. Do you think?
Yeah, what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I've been in a number of interracial relationships.
Yeah. Well, you like
not my heaven. I mean, if people, like you said, everything's not for everybody, but whoever you love, black, white, yellow, purple. Yeah. You love that person.
They're my favorite couple on the show. Like, I think they are actually going to get married off of it. I think this guy named Kenny and Karen. Yeah, they're the most boring couple on the show, but I think they're going to get.
Is that the Mexican guy?
No, they're not getting married.
Kenny's like really short.
I don't think they're going to get
and
married.
so is Karen. She's like shorter. She didn't want to be.
Was she like the physical?
Kenny's like, he has like reddish type hair. They didn't have sex yet.
I thought that was the one that she married, the Mexican
they're so
guy
boring.
with the blonde hair.
They're so boring.
Okay, I don't like them
remember
too.
who they are.
Yeah, they are. I know who you're talking about. Oh, and she has the blonde hair. The lady you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, but
she's a little spicy. She needs to calm down a little bit.
The one I don't like, you know Mark, right?
The other one, yes.
Karen can be a little spicy.
You know Mark, right? What's his girlfriend's name?
Mark and Jessica.
Mark and Jessica.
She don't like him.
Yo.
She don't like him.
I pray I'm never a Mark.
And she's super salty that she didn't choose that other guy too.
So Jessica's 34.
She's a bitch ass.
She is. I don't like her either.
Jessica's concerned about the 10-year gap and how that's going to look to society. Like, I'm 34, you're 24. She feels like if she's with him and they get married, she's going to speed his life up. Are you ready to have kids? Are you ready to really have a family? She's concerned. She fell in love with him without seeing him. And then when she saw him, he didn't quite fit what she was used to physically. Wasn't as tall and as muscular. He's like her height.
And he's Mexican.
And he's young. And she's just not there with him. And he's really trying his hardest, and he's professing his love, and he's really trying to show.
He's a good dude for real.
Right.
He's a good dude for real, and he's a
great guy.
She fell for the other.
He's with a devil in a blue dress.
Oh yeah, Amber.
Like,
she's a hot
don't give a fuck. Like that. She gonna be single for the rest of her life for real. She's one of those.
Who,
like,
Jessica?
yes. She's one of no. She's bad.
She is, and she's judgmental, and you can tell that she's really
she's
harping
bad. She's
on
one
that
of those ones
he's
that's never gonna be
Mexican.
satisfied.
Yeah,
like,
she's kind of snooty.
Jessica is awful. Where I agree with her is she's 34. She's making 6 figures. She owns her home. She's established in her career. Like, she done built herself up from the muscle. And you're 24 and you're not quite there. And she probably recalls who she was as a 24-year-old.
Yeah,
so
but I don't think that's right.
It is what
they're not going to want the same things ultimately. Sure. They're really not, because
it has to be more so the physical thing. So question is, the show's called Love Is Blind. Do you think Love Is Blind? Because it was supposed to be about the whole thing of falling in love with somebody, saying you're going to marry them, and then you get to see them on the other side of the wall. So do you feel like love is blind?
In general, in the spirit of love, I do. For me, the physical attraction and connection has to be there.
Yes.
I actually don't like that about myself, because I've met some great guys, great on paper guys, who if I could have made it work, I would have. But it just wasn't there, and I can't force it. So
the chemistry just wasn't there.
It's just not there. Sorry.
Next.
Yeah, but I do believe that love is blind, just not for me.
Yeah.
Do you believe that love is blind?
I think to a degree. I think that attraction and physical attraction can be a great part of what that experience can be like. It doesn't have to be a big part of it, but I think it can be a nice part.
How big of a part of it is it?
It's a factor.
Okay, because to me, it's number one. Like,
oh, it's not number one for me.
All right, okay. For me, it's I'm sorry. Like, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing that I do. It's a bad habit of mine. I know it is. But you have to look good first for me. Like, you just have to look good.
Yeah, I agree.
So, love is not blind. Love can't be blind for me.
No, love is blind in the aspect of...
I can see love when I feel it, like, emotionally with somebody, when I have that connection and a strong vibe with somebody. Like, that's not blind. I feel like when you meet somebody, like, that type of love can be, like, very, very seen. Like, oh, this person's interesting. Let me get to know them more. Let me get to... Like, that type of love isn't blind, but, like, to know that you can marry someone before even seeing them.
Touching them or smelling
nothing.
Them, like,
No, not
I
having
like
sex
the
with
smell of
them.
your
Like, what?
smell
Like,
naturally. Do I like how you feel in my arms?
Right.
well, there's 2 couples on there that still didn't have sex, and it's just like,
That's
dude.
weird.
Yeah, they're strange. I think that love is blind is saying, like, I believe you can totally be in love with someone and then they can make you blind to certain things.
Yes,
In that aspect, love can be blinding. Right. But what I found interesting about this show is that also, I didn't find that once the couples did meet each other, there weren't very many that were disappointed, which I found shocking. They were very, like, pleased with each other. Like, oh, okay. Like, I thought I was going to get someone to, like, open the doors and someone be fat or something. They'd be like... No, I'm out. But, like, that didn't happen at all, and I was shocked. But I definitely don't think that Jessica is attracted to that boy. Yep. He's attracted to her, but she was like,
What about that shit that Diamond did? That Carlton
yeah,
did.
talk about that.
Okay, so there was a couple, Diamond and Carlton. They fell in love in the pods. They proposed to get married, but Carlton had a secret. And Carlton's secret was that in the past he dated both genders. So he withheld that information from Diamond. So he proposes, she accepts, they go to Mexico, and he tells them after they're engaged. And it's a blow up. It gets nasty. He calls her a B.
That was too far, by the way.
He talks about
her wig, and it's like, you're mad because you were being gay. How? I don't understand.
So you got that, right? So
Carlton felt as though it shouldn't have mattered, and Diamond said, well, you withheld this information from me, so now I feel like I can't trust you.
What do you think about that? Like, should he have told her from the beginning?
Or do you think she should have cared?
I think that there's a lot of heteronormativity in our world, so I can understand why she would care. But I would hope that she could maybe loosen herself a little bit to not care so much. I don't think it has to be a big deal.
No.
That's primarily how I feel about it.
I think that's awesome. That's
cute.
You think that you should have told her right away, though?
Maybe not the first date, but like earlier on, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
So from the looks of it, I hope you get the opportunity to watch it. If you have a moment, from the looks of it, it looked as though Diamond was open to it. Like, she just wanted to have a conversation about it, and it seemed as though she was willing to roll with it.
He was like really.
He went too far. He went too far.
And he just kind of
he played himself out. He did.
He was like taking it like very defensively. Like,
fine then.
And she kind of needed the process. So when she was coming back to him, it was almost as if like she's like, I just need to talk to him and figure things. And, but it went left.
First off, I just want to say that.
What's your thoughts, girl?
My thoughts on that is that, like, I truly feel like if he was no longer interested in men, like, moving forward, he was for sure he wanted to get married, hence the reason he's on the show, and he wanted to be with a woman. That was his decision. I don't feel that he should have disclosed that information to someone if he didn't want to, because it was something of the past, because that would have been the same thing as if she experimented with women in her past. That's not something that she felt would have been a concern moving on in their relationship. So that's that. But on the other foot of that, I think that I appreciate him for trying to be honest, but I think that he needs some counseling, because it sounds like, Kimberly, he needs to come to you, because I heard something about maybe that he came from like a church background, and it seems that maybe he comes from a judgmental family, and I think to him that he feels that like he's, going against God by, you know, going with guys or whatever his situation was. Yeah. And I think he's suffering from that. So I think it was something that he probably was like, this is in my head, let me just get this out there now, or else I'm not worthy. Like, I think there's some other stuff going on with himself. Right, because she didn't seem like, she wasn't even like, oh, hell no. She didn't do none of that. She was just like, okay. And then he was just like, all right, well, that's why you wig, and that's why this, and bitch, whatever. Oh, wow. Like, then he just played himself out. Like, that was just too far. That didn't even need to go there.
I think trust takes a long time to build and only seconds to destroy.
Right.
I can understand him wanting to withhold that information, but later on, I'm going to feel betrayed. Like, what else is it that you're keeping from me? And once there's a crack in that trust, and there's that ripple, like, it's really hard to come back from. So just give me the opportunity to make a decision. Like, if I'm going to accept you, then it was meant to be and we're going to be together. And if not, then I wasn't the person for you. But don't withhold that information from me, and then later on I'm going to feel swindled and betrayed. And like, what else are you keeping from me? I'm going to feel uneasy at that point. You let me know in the beginning, let me know date 3 or 4, whenever you feel comfortable, kind of early in the game, then, you know, let me make my choice.
And remember when, like, she was very supportive. Like, remember she, like, was rubbing his back and stuff, and he was just like, fuck! Like, he was like, he was just going through something. I'm like, not that deep.
Would y'all ever do anything like that though? Like any crazy experiment like that? Like going
yeah, like you was
like the way like you can't see the person and you gotta like see about getting married to him in like 4 weeks.
Nah.
Right. That's scary. That's why I call it a horror series. Like, that is so scary to do. Like,
I'm game.
They all saying I love you and will you marry me? And it's only been 4 weeks. That's no.
I feel like that was the interesting aspect about it though, how they said like you don't realize you do get distracted. You can get distracted by physical things or whatever.
It's just because he
was cute, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, that gets in the way, because then you'll keep being like, all right, I'm gonna give him a little chance. But if you don't see this person and you're talking to him, you're like, you know what, he is a dummy. I'm gonna move on to the next person. You know, so I guess being in that physical thing, that is a distraction. So I do agree with that, but I don't know about getting married.
They got to get married in 4 weeks. Do you have like a time frame that it's like, look, I need to be with you for this long before we just gonna lock it down and we gonna live together and do all that shit?
Well, you don't know nobody until you live with them. I'll tell you that.
That's facts.
I don't care if you date someone for 2 years or 10 years. Until you live under the same roof, you do not know everything about that person. Right. So I think that that definitely needs to be part of the experiment before they just jump in and get married.
They did do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I agree with that, because
the one chick wasn't working too.
What about the girl though? What about the other one? She's a little crazy. Yeah, she's a little crazy.
Yeah, but she was saying she was living couch to couch. Like she wouldn't. She's goofy.
She laughs too much, and like I don't know. I think she's not right in the head.
And you know what's funny? Like when I think about compatibility, so there's Barnett, right? Who he owns a home and he's financially responsible and he goes to work every day, and then he attracts this woman who's gorgeous, who just wants to be like the stay-at-home mom, and she's $20,000 in debt and she's not really figuring it out, and she's just kind of hanging out. So he's coming home from work like, what did you do? She's like, oh, I'm planning the wedding and it was so stressful. So I think he's concerned and he might have some reservations because he's like, I don't want to struggle financially. Meanwhile, there was another girl that he turned down who is more, I guess.
That was Elsie or Ellie? One of them.
Jessica.
Jessica.
The
no,
one
and then there was
older.
another one.
He did. He turned down.
What's her name?
She wanted Jessica, who's with Mark.
Jessica felt for him at first, who's with a Mexican now, and she fell for him because I think he was a little bit of a playboy, and she thought he was a little more fun. And then remember, he was all like, "I didn't say I was going to come and propose to you." And that's when she's like,
Jessica and Mark ain't gonna get married. So the next show that comes on is who's gonna marry who. Like,
I think that comes on tonight.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching that.
Yeah,
oh.
It's the weddings, and I'm gonna have to watch.
Oh, lit! It's gonna be lit. All right, so it is. I'm gonna watch this shit.
You were asking about a timeline for marriage. I'm not into wasting time. So if I have a bag with all my things in it, and it's my baggage and my past and my trauma and my upbringing and my values and my goals, like, this is my shit, I can own it. I'm an open book. Ask me what you want to ask me. Let's build. Let's get on the same page. And if we did the same thing, it could probably move and accelerate a little bit more quickly. I'm not saying we got to be together 5 years to figure this thing out. It doesn't have to be 5 weeks either. But like, if you come to the table with your stuff and I come with mine and we're on the same page about things, like,
what's stopping?
Yeah, like what's getting in the way if we're really ready to be vulnerable and be ourselves and not our representatives and really like, get to the.
It's very rare that you
it.
find two people though that one is ready to be married and the other one is too. It's usually not a thing. One is usually a lot more mature or more closer to that goal, and you know the other one may not even want that, or if they do, they're not ready for it yet. So I think that sometimes that does take time for you both to get to that level. So
how long did it take you and your husband?
Well, we were together for a really long time. Like probably past 12 years. But married wise, we've only been married for 5. So right there. And I honestly wouldn't have done it any sooner because I don't feel like either of us would have been ready.
So it was like 5 years.
What I mean? Right.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you have like a time frame of like when you would be like at that point of somebody where like, oh, this is it, or is it like could it be like 2 months
fast.
or like really?
I fall in love quickly.
Okay.
So I think it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
And like there's been times where I've been with someone like 6 months and I felt like it might go that direction. And there's been times where it definitely hasn't, you know, like it just all depends.
Yeah.
January 17th.
Aquarius. Oh, Capricorn.
Right off, one day off from Aaliyah. So.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
Oh wow.
And the same day as Michelle Obama.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have a time frame. I got like about my time frame. I would say like I guess like after a year or 2. Like it's hard for me to say because like I do want more kids. So I would like one more kid or something like that. So I don't know. Time frames like winding down on when I could like be choosy or whatever. So I would say like a year though. Not 4 weeks.
Not especially if I don't see
and
what
marry
you look
them.
like.
So you meet Shorty tomorrow, y'all hit it off. Maybe next year by Valentine's Day, you whipping out a ring.
I think that's still kind of fast. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even, man. Hey, that's a whole different thing. It's about getting a relationship first.
Right. So meeting the right person and being right.
I'm single. Yeah. My birthday's coming up. My birthday's on Friday. Having a birthday party at South Beach, Club South Beach down in Old City. I'm going to be performing. It's going to be free to get in before 11. It's going to be free drinks before 11.
All right.
Top shelf or top bar, free drinks open 11.
Make sure he threw that in there so
And it's going to be free hookah for all the ladies. Speaking of that, it's going to be free food. So make sure you slide. I'm going to be performing. And yeah. So
All right.
it was good having y'all tonight. Kim, any last words that you have for us?
Yeah, I guess I just want to send people away with a message that really when you love yourself, you're so much more capable of loving others. That's a really great place to start. So I really just want people to try to find something in themselves that they can love and appreciate and find beautiful.
Right.
All right.
Nice.
Nice message.
All right, Shar, Amber, it was good having y'all tonight. And we are the Gift of Gab.
All right.
Signing out.
Signing out.
Empty glass.
Cause the girlfriend steady participating. Look at what that make me the topic of conversation. Topic of conversation. And I am hella loud. Fuck it, I'm conceited, eat it. Needless to say, I'm a genius. Bringing hip hop back with meaning since we been done RIP. I'm at the top. Motherfuckers act like they don't know. Blind speaking that Chris Rock shit, saying that they never see before. Nigga, I do's this.